Farbrengen. The beginning of Farbrengen starts that his vadas the Shabbos Zu. This is Shabbos Parshas Yisro. The Farbrengen of this Shabbos, he ashlishis behemshech leyem ha'ilula the kvaitutis mari chamad mor. It is the third Farbrengen in continuation to the yard site of my father-in-law. Beisaf, in addition, Aleis Vadas Yom Shabbos L'Mochras Yom Lula. In other words, this Farbrengen of Shabbos Parshas Yisro, which is the 18th of Shvat, comes in addition to the Farbrengen of the Shabbos day on the morrow of Yom Lula. And then there was another Farbrengen, Visvadas Chamish also B'Shvat. There was Farbrengen on 2 B'Shvat, skip the parentheses. That also it was a continuation of the yard site of the Frierdiker Rebbe, like it's explained in the Farbrengen of that Tu B'Shvat of that year. And the goal and its purpose, to affect the idea of a strength and a verification. Skip the brackets. B'chol in Yona Yom Ha'ilula and all matters of the yard site. Koloimars means to say, Shekol hachlotas ha'toivis shekibul cholechad v'echol atzmai. Lahoisif b'mili ha'iraisu shebal ha'ilula. All the good resolutions that every single one took upon themselves to increase in fulfilling the directives of the one whose yard site it is, they shall be in a way of strength. That's also from the expression of being powerful. If it will be with additional power and strength. Moving it's understood. The advantage of a chazak is not just in the third time that it's done. The third time is what reveals something that was taken, what was going on before as well. That the first and second time was already fully strong. Concerning the if a person is trying to prove that they own something and they lost a document of real estate property, but they were living there and working the field for 3 years, and there's testimony of witnesses that he was there 3 years. The Mesugis HaGemara Muchach Shagama Beis Hashanim, that even the 2 years that he was living there, skip the parentheses, they are chelik minyan achazaka, they are part of the power and strength. It's not just the 3rd year, but it retroactively, if will, reveals the power and the strength of it. In such a manner, out of the strength of the chazaka, mamshichim zois al kol hayom shel ha'achri. We bring this about on all the days following this. V'hainu, this means she'soira zu tia ba'ifim the pul and nemshechas, that this inspiration will be as an ongoing type of effect. Al kol hashana kula, for the entire year. V'chein al kol hashanim shel ha'achri, so too on all the years following this. So now the Rebbe asked a very simple question that has to do with the Geulah. Ubagdam, and to preface, this idea that we need to draw down all the matters of the yard site for all the days following it is seemingly a wonder. Kol Yehudi Aimer b'tfilasoi, every Yid says in his davening, Lishuascha kivinu kol hayom, to your salvation, we are hoping the entire day. Hainu shemitzapim umekavim shageulah tia takef miyad mamish kol hayom. We look forward to and we hope that the Geulah will be immediately mamish the entire day. Since Mashiach Tzidkenu comes immediately, how they take from Miyad Yagam Ein Tchias Mesim Eitzel Tzadikim. How much more? So therefore, it will be immediately Tchias Mesim by Tzadikim. Halachas Kam V'Kam Yisro. How much more so by leaders of the Yidden are higher than Tzadikim, the heads of the generations. Will be in Yonenu and in our topic, Balai Lula Nasiador, the one whose yahrzeit it is, the leader of the generation. Skip the brackets. Kiyadua Mashakasa Bezoyar, like it's known what it says in the Zoyar. Sha'af Shetchis Ametzim to Kol Bnei Yisrael Tiyam Meshach Zman. Arboim Shon Alacher Bias Meshach Tzidkenu, though the resurrection will be by all Yid for a certain duration of time after the coming of Mashiach. The Zohar says it'll take 40 years. Mikol Mokim, still in all, Eitzel Tzadikim, Inyan, the Tchias HaMesim take from Miyad Kishyon Mashiach came. By Tzadikim, the idea of Tchias HaMesim will take place as immediately when Mashiach comes. V'yadu haraya lakach, it's known the proof for this. Gam mi benigla the Torah, also in the revealed part of Torah, Shari Beforish B'Gemara, it's explicit in the Gemara. In the future, when the Beis Hamikdash will be built, you are in the one of Moshe Iboim. Aaron and his children and Moshe will be with them. Since we know that the building of the Beis Hamikdash will be immediately when Mashiach comes, that's one of the three things that Mashiach has to do, like they brings from the Rambam and the footnote. Nimtza comes out. Shagam Tchias HaMesim Tzadikim Moshe v'Aaron also Tchias HaMesim Tzadikim will also have to be that Moshe v'Aaron take from Miyad v'Yes Mashiach Tzidkenu will have to come immediately when Mashiach Tzidkenu comes. In Cain, so the Rebbe then asks, what did we say before? That we need to have a chazak in all matters of the yahrzeit of the Frierdiker Rebbe and to draw down all the matters of his passing and what we derive from it, and it should be a strength for all time. How does that fit in with the idea that he's going to get up at Tchias HaMesim, came to Kates and Shaykh Loimar Sheyesh Laham, Shech saying Yom Makshurim Abiyim Hai Lula Inyan Talks Hai Yom Shalachar is how is it possible to say that we have to draw down those matters that are connected with the idea of his passing with the days following it? Afilu b'meshach shanazu, even if it's talking about just for the duration of this year. V'alachas kam v'kama b'meshach hashanim shalachar is how much more so for the continuation, duration of the years following it. Kasher yoidim shemashiach tzidkenu, but take miyad kum Mashiach, when we know Mashiach tzidkenu is coming immediately. That therefore, what's going to be immediately is also they're going to wake up and sing those that are resting in the earth. Eitzel tzadikim yitek from miyad, it'll be immediately. So how does it fit? He says, the explanation this is, Al pi amvor b'kut Torah b'soifa v'pirish hakasav kikyat shamayim ha'chadoshim v'artz chadosh shani yoysa aim the lefonai goymer kein yamid lefonai zarachem v'shimchem. Like it says, like the new heavens and the new earth that I am making are standing before me, so too will stand before me your children, your descendants, and your name. Shaga or names. Shagam la'asalavi. Also in the future. When then there'll be the new heavens and the new earth that I'm making. And al pi Kabbalah, this is going the koyal b'chinas pnimius atik shtizgal la'asalavi. It's going on the innermost level of godliness, known as pnimius atik, that will become revealed when Mashiach comes. I know, and he quotes in the Alter Rebbe over there in Kutei Torah, Hamshachas Makifim Upnimim Chadoshim. They'll be brought down transcendent levels and permeating levels, totally new. That's Shalamayla Mashvira Vatikun. That's beyond the breaking of the vessels of Toyu and beyond the reparation of the repair of those vessels. Asher Ani Oised, that I am doing. Shenim Shachim B'Srustal Eil Balvad. These are coming down only by Hashem's doing, not as a result of what we do. That it's standing before me, Shumapnimius Atik, that goes on the level of the innermost level of Atik. Again, a very high level. Also, then it will stand before me your descendants and your names. The koi al klolos avidosam shel Yisro bin yonei toiro mitzvahs bezman hazeh zarachem v'shimchem. Zarachem literally means your seed. Shimchem means your name. In other words, the fact that you become renowned. So all of this is going on what the Yidden had accomplished in Golus. The idea of what we do in our Torah mitzvahs in the time of Golus is called planting. It also gives us renown and makes us our name. So even what we did in the time of Golus, our planting, our name, even after Mashiach Tzidkenu will come in the future, there will be great importance. So to stand before me, your seed and your name. To the general avodah these days. Pisa moving according to this, it's understood. There's a special advantage and special importance to the chazaka in all matters of avodah that's connected with the day of a yahrzeit. Even if immediately, and when immediately Mashiach comes, take it from Miyad immediately. They will awaken and sing the those that are resting in the earth, and at their head, Balei Lula, the one whose yahrzeit it is. So the Frierdiker Rebbe is saying, the Rebbe is saying over here that since our avodah is something that is always and everlasting, so therefore we can do still, even now, something that will impact Mashiach coming the next second, even though what we're doing has to do with a yahrzeit. And when Mashiach comes, it'll be a Reit Chias HaMeisim, or it'll be the undoing of the yahrzeit. But still, that avodah and that inspiration and that elevation that we're doing now in connection with the yahrzeit, it still has full force even after Tchias HaMeisim takes place. Yesh la'osef b'zeh shachashivas ha'mayos ha'avodah zman hazeh la'aseh la'avodah, that the importance and the quality of the avodah of these days for the future time, kein yabed l'fonei zarachem v'shimchem ikra b'negel la'avodah zman ha'golus. It is primarily concerning the avodah of the time of Golus. When it says, so it will stand before me, your seed and your name, it can go b'chlal on the whole period of time up until, from the time when Yidden did their avodas Hashem, starting from Matan Torah and even earlier. But it's specifically and especially, it's going on the time of Golus, that will remain and retain its importance even after Mashiach comes. Ubezman Golus Gufen, at the time of Golus itself, Ikra Goshi al avodah the Doir Achron. The main emphasis is on the avodah of the final generation of Golus, the Doireinu Zed, this generation, Dora Dix the Mashiach, the generation of the heels of Mashiach. Kashnim Tzoyim B'Choshech Chafel Mechupel, when we find ourselves in a double and quadruple darkness. Vaf became still null, Lemdim Torah Mekayim Mitzvahs. We still annul, despite the great darkness of Golus, and especially despite the great darkness of our generation of Golus, the final generation of Golus, we're still annul learning Torah, we're still not fulfilling mitzvahs, meblili, spoil, mekalamnis, vikuvim, without being affected by all obstacles and blockages, etc. So that is the ultimate thing that's going to be in full force and bloom after Mashiach comes. Like it's explained in Mar Chassidus in many places, concerning the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble person before in front of every person from upon the face of the earth. He was even so in front of non-Jews. He had this great humility. She'ikara, and his main humility was Beroisa when he saw Asher beikvis Mashiach and the heels of Mashiach. Yadar Yosem, there'll be an orphan generation. Shasagose Belakus, there's comprehension and godliness. Va'avoided the Moach Balev, and it's their service of the intellect and the heart. Loitien Nachshavas Klal Lagabadoir Shemosh Rabbeinu will have no value in comparison to the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu. Ve'af became still in all Yam to B'Nisoy, and they will stand the test. V'yichaymu Torah mitzvah poil mamish, and they fulfill Torah mitzvahs in actuality. Mebli li'spoil mekol amanis v'kum sheyetzam tzara without being affected from all the blockages and the obstacles that will be with them, that will be because of the surroundings and the environment. In comparison to this generation, was the primary humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. Like we see in actuality, the great difficulties and challenges in our generation, and specifically, the test of not being embarrassed from people that are scoffing. And then the Rebbe goes on and explains all different types of scoffers. There's scoffers that are non-Jews, and there's scoffers that are Jews. And then he goes on to the end. So he says, let's skip over to the second paragraph from the bottom. V'nachzer linyanenu, let us return to our topic after talking about all the different issues that we have with people that are scoffing. The main idea that your seed and your name will stand even when Mashiach comes, concerning the avodah of the final generation. Because we are not affected by all the blockages that we're having from all the scoffers. We increase in spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit and spreading the well springs outward, the well springs of Chassidus, B'Yeser Seis, or B'Yeser Oz, with greater power and greater strength. Appropriate and corresponding to the command directives of the leader of our generation, the one whose yahrzeit it was. V'yiratzon should be the will of Hashem. She is baruch hu b'chol milda meitav, it should be blessed in all matters of goodness. B'chol mitzdarach lehem b'nefshat basar, and everything that's necessary for them, from heart through soul, from heart to flesh, like the expression of the one whose yahrzeit it was. Stand all of you ready, to receive the bracha of Hashem, that Hashem will give forth through awakening great compassion, that the one whose yahrzeit it is will inspire for all of those who are involved in his yahrzeit. That's a beginning part of the Farbrengen. Further on in the Farbrengen, the Rebbe starts talking about the significance of the three Parshas of Boy, B'Shalach, and Yisro, and then the Rebbe is going to connect with the Boy, B'Shalach, and Yisro concerning the impact and the importance concerning Mashiach. So that's we're going to skip over to that part. Then he says, okay, the bottom of page 1204, three lines from the bottom, Ois Zayin. If we get at Shekol in Yonim Hanal Shabagimel Parshas, all the above mentioned matters of the three Parshas Heminyonim klolim v'ikrim b'chayam Yisrael atzoif kol doidus. These are general things and vital and core matters in the life of Am Yisrael till the end of all generations. In the Matan Torah, Parshas Yisro, the idea of the giving of the Torah of Parshas Yisro, Sheboinit in the Torah Am Yisrael, that on Parshas Yisro, the Torah was given to Klal Yisrael, Ad Soif Kol Adoides, until the end of all generations, Kol Gili Pnimis HaTorah, the loss of love, including also the revelation of the inner part of the Torah in the future. We know that the Torah will not be given again. So therefore, even though when Mashiach comes, there'll be a revelation of the inner part of the Torah, but that inner part of the Torah was already given by Matan Torah. It's only when Mashiach comes that's going to be revealed. So that is how Matan Torah impacts all generations till Mashiach comes. Inyan Hamon Shor Parshas B'Shalach, the idea of the Mon that's related in yesterday's Parsha, Parshas B'Shalach. Harei, Nois of Al Tetzah Shal Yodeh Kiyum Shal Bnei Yisrael, Koil Kiyum Beis Matan Torah. In addition to the result of having the Mon, that kept the Yidden alive, including also them being alive during Matan Torah. B'Meshach Kol Arboim Shana Shoyim Midbar. Also, during the 40 years that the Yidden were in the desert. From this was the ongoing existence of the Yidden to the end of all generations. Also concerning the Mon itself, not just the Yidden who lived from the Mon. By it says, this is the matter Hashem commanded, fill an oimer of it as a safekeeping for your generations. So we find again how everlasting it is, the idea of the Mon. The Inyan the Yitzias Mitzrayim Parshas Boy, and the idea of Yitzias Mitzrayim of Parshas Boy, going out of Mitzrayim, Shoyrish L'chol HaGeulah Shel Achriza. Going out of Mitzrayim that we read about in Parshas Boy is the root for all the redemptions that followed it. Skip the parentheses, including also the future redemption. Allah Namar concerning the future redemption, it says, like your days going out of the land of Mitzrayim, I will show you wonders. Like it's also emphasized in the mitzvah of Tefillin, Shabbasoif Parshas Boy, that's the end of Parshas Boy. That the remembrance of Yitzias Mitzrayim is an ongoing remembrance. So we see that Parshas Boy as well has impact for all time, including the time of the Geulah. And this is also emphasized that the general avoid of spreading Torah and Yiddishkeit out of love of another Yid and unity with another Yid, which is a point that the Rebbe earlier brought about as a common denominator of the three parshas of Boy, B'Shalach, and Yisro. It's the common denominator that's between all these three parshas. It's a general and crucial matter and primary matter in the life of Yid Natsoif Kol Adoros till the end of all generations. Now, finally, to the idea of the Geulah, an additional emphasis in this avoid in this final generation. Kavanas HaGolos, the purpose of exile is so that I should also raise you up and make you ascend, which means the fact that it says a double expression of ascending. It teaches us love to come to the ultimate ascent of the future redemption. And this ascent of the redemption, the Geulah, the ultimate intention of exile, in comparison to how Yidden were before the exile. In other words, we're supposed to reach a higher level than even we were before we descended in exile. Before the exile, even though there wasn't an actual exile, but there was a possibility for exile. The Ilu Aliyah, the Geulah Sha'achar Golas he Geulah Bitis, as opposed to the ascent of the redemption that's following the Golas, is a true Geulah. Kol Hashem shall be Torah, like all the names that are after the Torah. Kloimar, that's according to Torah. Kloimar Geulah Shein Achra Golas. It means that there's a redemption that's not followed by exile. The Imloikain, if not so, if it's followed by exile, Dugmas Maima Makazim, this is like the false waters, that we know that waters that dry up, or a river that dries up once in 7 years is not considered a river, even though now it's flowing, but it's not considered a river because according to Torah, if it's not lasting, it's not a true existence. So same thing, for a Geulah to be considered a true Geulah, it has to be an everlasting Geulah. And before the Geulah, since it was a possibility of being a Geulah, so that's not a true state of Geulah, but only after the Geulah, when we're going to have the Geulah with Mashiach, that is the true and ultimate Geulah. The Inyan Zesh, Kavanas HaGolas B'Shvil HaGeulah, this idea that the whole purpose of the Geulah is for the sake of redemption. Mudgish Bakach is emphasizing the fact Sha'osis the Geulah, the Geulah Shabbos Hein, but Taisofis Alis, that the letters making up the word Geulah, exile, and the letters making up the word Geulah, redemption, are the same, but Geulah has an additional letter Aleph to it. The names in Lashon Kodesh are not arbitrary names that were just that people chose to make up a word to mean a certain thing. Rather, the names in Lashon Kodesh indicate the true state of something. Why is Geulah and Geulah the same letters? Because the intention and the meaning and the purpose of exile is to reach the state of Geulah. Yet, to be able to reveal the inner purpose of exile, through one transforming exile to redemption. How does one reveal that? Through inserting and investing the Aleph of Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, the Hashem Echad, and revealing it even in a state of exile. So then that brings the state of Geulah. And the Rebbe concludes of Bezeh Beis Inyanim. In this, there are two components. Aleph, Hafichas HaGeulah LeGeulah, who the transformation of exile to redemption is. Through drawing down the letter Aleph. Alufi Shaloilam, who's the master of the world. B'makim u'matzav, the Geulah in the state and the situation of an exile. The Indians and Nifal. How do we take the Aleph and invest it and immerse it and insert it into Geulah, into exile? That's through bringing Hashem into the world. How does one bring Hashem into the world? We bring Hashem into the world through the avodah of spreading out Torah and Yiddishkeit in every single place. Beis, another point of this. Yisoyrus la'avodah zuhi, the inspiration for this avodah is hayidiyah, the knowledge. That even the Aleph is in the state of exile. Wherever Yidden went into exile, the Shekhinah went along with them. Shekhinah begalusa, the Shekhinah is in exile. The Mekivin sheyoidim shegam HaKadosh Baruch Hu nimtza begolus. Since we know that also Hashem is found in Golus, surely one has to do everything that is dependent upon them. K'dei lifos inyan hageulah, to affect the idea of the redemption. Not just for themselves, but Klal Yisrael, for the general Klal Yisrael, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, also to affect this for Hashem. V'ifticha Torah, and Torah promise. Shakir Yisrael loisen tshuva, when Yidden do tshuva. B'shait echad o b'riga echad, in 1 hour, in 1 moment, miyad ein negolim, immediately they are redeemed. Like it's explained in a Maimer the Alter Rebbe, Isa b'tikunim, it's brought down Tikuni Zoyar. Even if one tzaddik would do complete tshuva in his generation, Mashiach would come. And then the Rebbe concludes that when Mashiach comes, it's going to be the ultimate level of the revelation of the innermost treasures, because he connects it with the idea of the Frierdiker Rebbe in his Maimer speaks about how the king gives out the treasures for the that he's hidden away for many years. His ancestors is hidden away, and why does he give that out? So there should be able to be the winning of the war. And the same thing, Elam Mishpatim, which is the following week's parsha, it says, Asher Tosim Lefneim, Tosim is in the word Sima, which is Aramaic for Oitzer, a treasure that's also placed before them. And then the last page of the Sikha that we're going to learn is the last paragraph before the 3 stars, the Pashtas, and simply put, should take it from Yad Mamish, that immediately Mamish, Zoichem, Geulah, Mitzvah, Shlema, Dem Shechset Kain, we merit the true and complete redemption through Mashiach, Shlemus Ha'am, the perfection of the nation, B'yachadim Shlemus HaTorah, along with the completion of the Torah, Ubayim L'Shlemus Ha'aretz, we come to the perfection of the earth, of the land, of the world, of the Eretz Yisrael. B'sham Zoichem L'Kiyam HaYid, and over there in Eretz Yisrael, we merit fulfillment of the promise, V'Shiva Shavtach B'Rishayna, and I'll return your judges like initially, meaning we will see the Frierdiker Rebbe speedily nowadays, Mamish Bagol Didan.